let's talk about a new way to save and pay for college, all right? So what if you could borrow the money to pay for college without a required loan payment, okay, with optional loan payments for less interest than you could earn on your savings? So what if I could show you where you could earn a safe 6% return or better and be guaranteed to be able to borrow the money at 5% to be able to pay for college with optional loan payments? That is the secret. Now, you don't have to make a loan payment, but if you don't, your loans will just compound interest. But as long as your money continues to compound interest, you benefit from the spread. A 1% is an example, positive spread. Maybe you get a 2% or even a 3% positive spread. But even with a 1% positive spread, this could give you the entire cost of college back during your retirement years. Now, if you wanted to, maybe you received an inheritance or whatever the case may be, you could pay those loans back and then you would have access to more money, but it's an optional loan payment. And if you had the choice and you had these loans at 5% and you could earn 6% on your compounding interest, and every month that you were earning money, you spent some money on your lifestyle, but then you had the choice of where should we put the money? Should we put the money over here towards our loans, or should we put the money over here towards compounding interest? Which would you rather do? Would you rather pay on those loans, or would you rather put your money towards compounding interest if you were really earning an average of 6% or better, right? Now, it's kind of like two cars going across the country. Let's say one car is going 60 miles an hour across the country from New York to LA, and the other car is going 50 miles an hour. Now, by the time they leave the neighborhood, there might not be that big of a difference between the two cars. But by the time they go all the way across the country, there's a big difference. Now, for those of you who already have high school students or college students, we're not talking about the next 3 or 4 years. We're talking about the rest of your life, okay? So if you're in your 60s even, you've probably got at least another 20, 30 years, right? Maybe even 40 years. That's a long time for you to benefit from the power of compounding interest. Now, how do we do it? How do we actually make this work? Well, we need 3 components for this to work. We need uninterrupted compounding interest. You've heard of compounding interest, okay? But we need uninterrupted compounding interest. We don't want to spend the money. We want it to grow the rest of our lives. Then we need loans at a lower interest rate. Now, you can go out and get loans at a lower interest rate, but do they have optional loan payments? That's the third ingredient or the third component. We need optional loan payments. That doesn't mean we can't pay them back, but it means that we need optional loan payments. Now, I also want to point out something very important here, which is you are not in debt, okay? You are not in debt by implementing this strategy because you always have the money securing these loans. So you could always use your money to pay off the loans anytime you want. You're never upside down in this strategy. You always have the money to pay off the loans, so you're never in debt. All right, how about 529 accounts? Can we use our 529 account as collateral and take out a loan against it with optional loan payments? No, that's the problem. Does it hurt your chances of getting some free money from the colleges? Yeah, possibly, all right? But most importantly, it just doesn't work for this particular strategy. Okay, how about the banks? Of course not. The banks are doing the same thing that I'm explaining to you. The banks are the ones giving you the loans at a higher rate than what they're giving you on your savings. We're trying to take a little lesson out of their book and doing what they are doing. So of course it won't work if you put your money with the bank. How about a 401k loan? Does your employer give you some money out of their pocket when you take out a 401k loan? Of course not. They're simply giving you early access to your 401k money without a penalty. But then you have to pay it back. So it does not work for this strategy as well. How about using your Amazon stock as collateral, or just a generic, brokerage account as collateral, and borrowing some money from the brokerage firm? That's what we call a margin loan. It will work except for the optional loan payments. When you take out a loan when you take out a margin loan, they're going to want a loan payment. Now, how about real estate? Wouldn't it be awesome if you could go out and get a home equity line of credit and just draw on the home equity line of credit to pay for college without any loan payments? How cool would that be? Even if you could get qualified without jumping through all the hoops of underwriting. And what if your house, maybe this is your house here, right? What if your house continues to appreciate in value and you can take out a loan at a lower rate without loan payments? That would be awesome. Unfortunately, there's not a bank that I have ever found that will give you a loan without a loan payment using your house as collateral, other than actually a reverse mortgage. But that's for, you have to be older to qualify for that, and that's a topic for another day. All right, so how about life insurance, like cash value in something like a whole life policy? Well, ironically, this is where it gets interesting. Ironically, insurance companies will let you use your cash value, which if you don't know how life insurance works, there's the insurance portion and then there's this cash value portion, kind of like a savings account in addition to the insurance. So it's different than term insurance. It has a savings component to it. Well, could we use that savings component as collateral to take out a loan? Yes. And could we have optional loan payments? Yes. However, with whole life, it's going to earn more like a 4 to 5% return. And these loans are usually in that 6 to 8% range. So the problem is that your whole life policy is going to grow like this, and your loans, if you didn't make loan payments, would grow like that, and that would create a train wreck. That would not work, right? But it does have the optional loan payment option. Now, what about the new kid on the block, the Index Universal Life that you may be seeing all over the internet nowadays? Everyone seems to be talking about this. Yes, it can earn over a 6% average return, and I'll show you a couple case studies. But yes, it can earn over a 6% return, and yes, there are insurance companies that will give you loans at 5%, and yes, they will give you optional loan payments. So this can work. However, the only problem is the high fees of the actual life insurance. Remember, there's the life insurance piece, and then there's the cash value savings piece. And it's the insurance piece that is very expensive. That's where all the high fees come from. However, there's a secret of the ultra wealthy that you can use too. And I'm going to show you how the billionaires, the large corporations, and the banks are even using these life insurance policies differently, okay? Here's an example. If you go to bankdirector.com, you can learn how the banks are using life insurance. And they say in this video here, they're using it's different than traditional insurance contracts. There's high cash value, low insurance, okay? High cash value, which is like your savings account, less insurance. Now remember, the fees come from the insurance. So if you have less insurance and more cash value, then the fees are low. As it says in here, the cost is low compared to other insurance products. And that's how the banks are using it. Now, Tony Robbins, he wrote this book called Money Master the Game, where he went around and interviewed like 50 of the smartest people in the world when it comes to money. And in this book, he talks about in chapter 5, he talks about what he calls the secrets of the ultra wealthy that you can use too. And he talks about how they're using life insurance for the tax benefits of life insurance. But he also goes in here and says that it's not even the billionaires that are using it the most. It's the banks and the large corporations. In fact, Wells Fargo had over $18 billion in their Tier 1 capital on their balance sheet back in 2014. And I know that was a while ago, but just to give you an idea that these banks are using these contracts, but they're using them differently, okay? The key is that high fees equals high commissions. Low fees equals low commissions. So if done correctly, it can save you a lot of money in fees.